Welcome back to my channel. When looking at male-female relationships, I think both men and women are screwing things up. I don't have many definitive answers. Mostly, I'm just publicly going through arguments I've heard, giving my opinions, and the logic behind them. Modern feminism caused a lot of problems since the 1960s, but men have been screwing things up too, and often ignoring the legitimate concerns women have. Just as many women ignore the concerns of men. So, step one is to listen more and stop being so tribal. My first clip refers to the Bible because it impacts a lot of the disagreements about the roles of men and women. So, whether you are religious or not, this matters.
It says, "The Lord God said, it is not good for man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him." Now, in our modern day language, helper means subservient or secondary to the primary.
A lot of women really hate that, and a lot of men abuse it. But what does it really mean?
The Hebrew phrase is ezer kenegdo. And ezer kenegdo means to be strong where the other is weak. That doesn't sound secondary or subservient. And you know what's also really cool? God uses the same phrase to describe himself. Is God subservient or secondary to his people? No.
From my own research, I think this is correct. The interpretation that helper really means someone who is strong where the other is weak makes marriage into a partnership where each spouse has their own strengths and weaknesses. But it also means we need to recognize what those differing strengths and weaknesses are. We are not the same. That brings me to Andrew Tate. Regardless of your opinion about him, he makes interesting statements that make me think.
Women are the most powerful force on the planet. They have massive impact on a man's life. You can ask billionaires whether they're having a good day or a bad day, and a lot of that will come down to their relationship with their woman at the time, whether they've argued with their wife or not.
I'd be more specific and say it is the traditional housewife roles that is the most powerful force. That is, it isn't the income a wife may bring in that makes them powerful. I'm not saying they shouldn't work. I am saying that isn't what makes them powerful. It is the feminine side of them that does that. Unfortunately, power can be abused. Men and women need to realize the effect their actions have on their spouse. I do consider that to be an absolute. Tate gives some specifics which I think are generally pretty solid.
It is a man's job to financially and physically protect a woman, but it is a woman's job to spiritually protect her man. No matter how difficult life gets, if you have a woman who's by your side and you know truly loves you and truly wants the best for you, it gives you a source of power which you can't get from anywhere else in the universe.
Providing and protecting the wife is easy to understand and pretty much expected by society. A man who doesn't do those things will almost universally be looked down on by everyone. But the need for a woman to protect her husband's spirituality is an excellent point and all too often ignored by both the wife and society. Tate continues.
A woman who makes her man feel respected is the kind of woman a man's never going to want to lose. If I had a woman and I came home with all 5 of my friends and she came in the house and said, "Who's hungry? Anyone want any food?" It's not about food. I'm the G now. I'm the big boss. My woman wants to feed all of us. Of the guys there, most of their chicks would never do that. That's respect. That's status for me. That elevates my status. So men are actually very simple to please. Make him feel important and make him look important.
Any husband would love this treatment, especially in front of his friends. Yeah, I know. Some woman will say she cooks every day for her husband and he rarely says anything in appreciation. That's kind of a human nature problem. Things can just feel like a routine, so we stop thanking people. Happens to husbands too. How rarely is he thanked for his routine of going to work each day, possibly to a job that he doesn't like, or for chores he does at home? Tate's example is a good one. Because regardless of the normal day-to-day stuff that people do tend to take for granted, the act of preparing food will always make him look good to his friends. It's never a routine thing to them. Those friends are almost certainly going to be making positive comments to him, praising what his wife does, which increases his status and makes him love his wife more. Everybody wins. Moving on, I'm on record as saying that many men are too focused on a woman's appearance. Sure, it matters, but it isn't the only thing that does. Tate talks about this too.
You have a 9 out of 10 girlfriend. She doesn't really care about your hobbies. She doesn't really ask what you're into. She doesn't even ask how you feel. And you pay her bills because you're a rich guy and you hang out with her. You have a 7 out of 10 girlfriend who super cares about you and your day. She asks what you've been up to. When you have an interest, she has an interest. When you buy a new car, she wants to learn about the car so she can talk to you about it. She cares more. Which girl are you going to be more interested in?
A beautiful woman who is after you because you are already wealthy may be a problem. One way a woman shows there's more to it is by making it a point to show an interest in things her husband enjoys, even if she doesn't share the same interest. I think it is actually nice that a woman will want to learn about things simply because she knows her husband is interested. It shows love. That isn't a one-way street either. Men do similar things, though rarely get credit for it. He may go to the movies or watch TV shows his wife likes. He may not like them at all, but he'll do it because his wife does. In a good marriage, actual mutual interest in things can be far less important than the act of mutually sharing things. Tate's brother Tristan makes a similar point.
Maybe she's an 8, maybe she's not a 10, or maybe she's a 9, maybe she's a 7 for you guys out there, maybe she's a 4, but that feeling you'll get, she wakes you up in the morning, says, here's your cup of coffee, I know you didn't sleep well last night, here, try, have a great day, have a productive day at work, I love you, I miss you. That is so much better. A life without that would be an empty, vacuous existence, and I wouldn't want to live it.
This is another way a woman can show she really cares, and it takes minimal effort. Little things matter. When I think back to every girl or woman I was ever romantically attracted to, some were stunningly beautiful, some were just pretty or cute, and some would probably just be considered average or even a bit below. Clearly, there were other factors that attracted me. Men desiring an attractive woman is fine, but going after a woman just because she is attractive is a problem. Similarly, I have no problem with women being hypergamous. It's smart. But there are women who go way overboard about that too, wanting the guy who is very rich already and not caring about the kind of person he is. It puts a whole new twist on the phrase, behind every successful man is a woman. For many women, it would more accurately be, waiting for every successful man is a woman wanting instant gratification. Here's a view from another man I agree with.
As a man grows older, he starts to appreciate peace over beauty, because a woman will be pretty only for a while, but a woman who brings peace will be pretty for life.
It's very important for women to realize this because, like it or not, most women will not be really attractive after a decade or two. And even if they aren't going to compare well to a young woman in her mid-20s. So it's great that good men care about more than physical beauty. But that also means a woman should give a man the other things he needs. That is, peace and status. Andrew Tate's next statement may be a bit exaggerated.
I think every man knows what I'm saying is true. If you date a woman for a few months, by the end, your favorite song's her favorite song. Your interests are her interests. Your favorite car is her favorite car. And I think it's one of the beautiful things about being in a relationship. I absolutely love when my woman pretends to care about cars. Wow, this one's purple. Yeah, it's purple. Get in. I love this one because she knows I care, so she pretends to care. That's part of the beauty of it all.
I don't know if that much agreement is really necessary. However, I do like how Tate puts the last part. That is, he recognizes that the girlfriend may only pretend to care about his car. They can both know it's a bit of an act, but it is a loving act, and the husband still appreciates it. That is beautiful. This woman says something that I think used to be commonly understood.
Becoming a submissive woman is so crazy because the power you hold by doing that. I'll give a couple points. One, I was afraid that my feelings won't be valid or like I won't have a voice. What I noticed by just letting my husband make the decisions and just following that, he asks me for all the advice. He comes to me for every question. He'll call me, what do you think about this? I don't know what to do. I'm like, wow, what? And then I say it, what I think, and then he does it. So I end up having a leadership role by just letting him be the final say, but he values my wisdom.
No matter how much of an equal partnership you want, there will be things where there is no place for compromise. A man who isn't in charge is generally viewed as weak. That's the reality he lives in, like it or not. So she is submitting, but at the same time, she is creating an atmosphere where her husband feels secure in his leadership position, seeks her opinion, and wants to please her. They both win. Besides, a person who's expected and willing to die for his wife can certainly justify having the final word. Sure, some men just like being bosses, but then some women seem to like being harpies. The best solutions to things aren't based on the extremes. Here's an example of how a woman's attitude can make a huge difference.
This woman came and complained about her husband. Vicious, not open to any suggestion, not willing to hear anything, just wanted to carry on. So I said, when he walks in the door at the end of the day, what do you feel? What's your reaction? He says, disgusted. I said, do you think he knows? Yeah, he's not stupid. I said, if I were your husband, I would never come home. I would never walk into that. I'm going to walk into my house and be met with a look of disgust. I would never come home. He says, so what are you saying? I said, I don't know what to tell you. I just feel bad for your husband. And that's it. He went home. A week or so later, she calls up and she said, I want to tell you something. I decided to take your advice. I said, I didn't give you any advice. I was careful to avoid doing that. She says, no, what I mean is, I decided that instead of looking at him with disgust, I'm going to look at him with compassion. And I tried that a few days ago. You know, he's a nice guy. That's not magical, not mysterious. The guy walks in and she looks at him with disgust. He's going to be a nice guy? He's going to want to sit with her and talk to her?
One of the things women are probably better at than men is being a nurturer and being compassionate. Unfortunately, as I've watched the modern feminist movement develop, I've also seen women abandon these things they are good at. That clip shows how things change for the better when women use their strengths. One more, which serves as a warning.
Disrespect can permanently shut doors that apologies cannot reopen. Consider this carefully. Some people think they can say or do whatever they want and then fix it with a simple sorry. But what they don't realize is some doors close for good. Once someone feels truly disrespected, something inside them shifts. And once it does, no apology can bring back that trust that was broken.
A lot of women really screw this up. In anger, especially with a feminist mindset, a woman can say some pretty cruel things about her husband, stripping him of his status. Even if she apologizes later, the husband is likely to always have it sitting there, digging into his soul, even if he hides it. That has long-term repercussions. Just think about that before you do something that causes permanent damage. Thanks for watching, and don't let the trolls stop you from speaking out.